Hey everyone, Noob Admin here with a nooblab.com video tutorial on how to install Cacti on your Raspberry Pi. I've compiled the instructions that go along with this video over at nooblab.com. I've gone through the process of verifying these commands that you can run from your Raspberry Pi command line on Raspbian Wheezy to ensure its accuracy and ensure that it's an easy install for you. So let's get right to it. The installation makes the assumption that you have a internet connected interface. You are going to need the IP of this interface, so you can simply run the ifconfig command on your Raspberry Pi to take note of the IP if it was received through DHCP. I strongly recommend that you set up as static, as this will be your entry or gateway into the web-served Cacti solution. Also, you can run a quick ping command to a public address like 4.2.2.2 just to confirm internet connectivity. So let's get right into it. Again, you can go through the simple process of copy and pasting these commands from nooblab.com into your command line as you follow along, or you can type manually, whatever's up to you. First command, let's get right to it, is apt-get update. So we're going to make sure that we have our repositories up to date, and then we'll go right into apt-get install Apache 2. Now, while you're doing these installations and viewing the tutorial, don't worry about the difference in time it takes to install these packages on your machine, as I'm actually completing the tutorial on a Debian VMware. I use them for educational and learning purposes before installing or completing installs on my Raspberry Pi. After the Apache 2 installation is completed, you will be completing the apt-get install PHP 5, another required package to run the Cacti solution. So we'll get that in here and running. And just a note on this installation, I did decide to go with the full-blown LAMP server. On the underpowered Raspberry Pi, many will choose to use the light TPD install, and that is something I'm going to try in the future and might feature in future tutorials as I complete web server installs on my next Raspberry Pi. But I've decided to go with the Apache. Next install is for the MySQL server and client, so you'll want to jump in and install those packages next. Once we have or during the install of the MySQL packages, you will be prompted to create your MySQL root user. Now, this is an important thing to note, as you will require logging into MySQL later in the install. So once you are prompted here, and we'll wait for it for a moment, there we go. You'll see in the MySQL install, it'll come up and prompt you for a password for your root user for MySQL. So just complete and repeat the password prompt, and it will continue along in the installation. And as it makes its way through, we'll wait for the next prompt. And I'll take a moment to advise that this installation skips the my PHP admin install. However, it is something I do recommend installing for easy GUI control over your SQL databases. However, I think it's something I'll likely cover in a short article or tutorial later on, as it's not exactly pertinent to the fresh install of Cacti, although it would come in handy in the future for any MySQL related troubleshooting. So next, we're going to finish up here with a couple of modules required for PHP 5 to run Cacti, as well as SNMP and SNMPD, which are obviously major components of the Cacti solution. A little note on Cacti: if you are new to the graphing tool, it is a very powerful front end to the RD tool, which allows you to monitor not only your Raspberry Pi but any SNMP enabled device that you can get a MIB file or the proper OIDs for. Again, maybe SNMP is something I'll cover in future tutorials and articles. However, the main purpose of this is to get a management center up for your Raspberry Pi that will allow you to keep tabs on the performance, things like CPU, interface, statistics, and whatnot. So that completes the first bit of the install, where we've got all our appropriate packages installed. Next, we're going to make sure we have all the modules required for PHP. The simple command of php-m will give you a list of the modules currently installed for PHP, and you'll want to go through and compare them to the list I've provided you over in my install instructions on newblab.com. They should all be there, as I'm sure we're following the instructions to a T. So once you've verified that they're there, just as a double check, we can move along to the configuration of our system now. So the very first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to edit our php.ini file to ensure that we have the extension directory that it's going to require to run all the required modules. In editing this file, you'll just be using vi, and you can find it at etc/php5/apache2/php-ini. Now, once vi'd into the file, you'll be able to use the / and then type out what you're looking for. The / is a way to search through the file. And you will come across your extension directory line of the file. Now, we are going to be editing it with the location of the PHP module folder. It will be located at user/lib/php5. The directory you're looking for will be generally a date, a long number. In this case, on the Debian 6 distro, it's 2009-06-26. On the Raspberry Pi, it differs slightly, but I've noted it in the install instructions. So you can use the print working directory, pwd, to easily copy and paste the required update to the php.ini file. So as you can see here, I just quickly did the print working directory to copy, and then move back to my vi of the etc. php5 apache2 php.ini file. And again, search for the extension directory line. You will need to uncomment the line, and then you will need to update the line with the appropriate directory address. So you'll see I'll just complete a quick copy and paste here. And you want to make sure, obviously, that the trailing / is there. Now you can use the escape button to exit insert mode, which I was into by using I, and then use :WQ ! To save your changes. Next, we're going to go to the Apache2 configuration file. You'll get this in etc/apache2/apache2.conf. Now, you'll want to VI into this file. Once you're inside the VI editor, again, you'll use the / to search for the line that we are going to edit. I just do a quick search for include. Include will bring you to about the section you'll need. You'll have to go down a little bit to find the exact line, but you'll see it. It is include conf.d/. What we're going to do is we're going to update it to say, add a *.conf, which is going to point to a PHP conf file that we're going to create after we update this. So use I to insert your update, press escape, :WQ ! And that is up to date. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to change directory into the conf.d directory and create our our php.conf file. So again, I've even set up the change directory commands to make sure you end up in the right spot. So again, if you are copying and pasting the commands from the tutorial, you shouldn't be led astray. So once in the directory, we are going to vi php.conf, or sorry, my apologies, php.conf. It'll be a new file. So again, we'll press I to insert. And again, you can just simply copy and paste word for word what I've printed out for you at NewBlab, and copy it from there, paste it into your php.conf file, and then again, escape :WQ exclamation mark will write and quit the file. So we'll complete that here. And done. So smooth sailing thus far. Moving along, what we're going to do now is we are going to go to the default directory that Apache has for its web server, which is var/www. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the wget command to download the Cacti package. We are actually downloading it directly from cacti.net, the very handy website that includes documentation, a great user community, and tons and tons of information on troubleshooting and plugins, etc. So again, just use the wget command. Now you can do this through the apt-get repositories. However, I prefer the manual installation for a couple of reasons. One, I want to make sure I have the newest release, which at the time of making this video is 0.8.8a. I also want to make sure I keep track of where the tar gets untarred. I've found that in the apt-get installs, they choose some normal directories for the distro you're using. However, I like to keep control of it. So what I've done here is I've used wget to download the file. Once it was downloaded, I've untarred the file. Once it was untarred, I changed the name of it just to be nice and uniform, and then I removed the tarball. Next, we go right into creating the MySQL database that Cacti will be using. We are going to do it kind of step by step. I know you can, log into MySQL and run the commands from there as well, but these are just simple commands you can run one by one instead of having to drop down into MySQL for an extended period of time. Before running these commands, you are going to want to change directories into the newly created Cacti directory, as that is where the SQL database resides that you're going to import into MySQL. So again, MySQL admin, you're going to use the -- user root and ask it to prompt you for a password. Once you enter your password, you've created the Cacti database. After you create that database, you're then going to use MySQL. Again, logging in as user root, you'll get it to prompt you for a password, and you're going to use the caret symbol to import the Cacti database that comes with the download into MySQL. So again, we'll copy and paste those instructions directly into the Cacti, into your command line. And again, you'll see there I've shown you using ls how to find the Cacti SQL database that comes with the download. Now, once the Cacti database is in, you are going to create a user for Cacti, as well as give it the permissions required to affect changes to the database. So we'll use, again, the MySQL. This time when we actually are going to log into MySQL. And then, again, you can just use the grant all on cacti.star to Cacti user at localhost identified by Cacti. Now, Cacti user and Cacti are things you can choose to change. If you want the Cacti user to be named something else or the password to be something else, by all means, go right ahead. And please be sure to note this information, as you'll require it later if you want to log in as that user to the SQL database. You'll finish the MySQL portion of the install by flushing privileges out, and then we will move along here. and you can exit the MySQL prompt after completing the user creation and password set. Now, once MySQL is taken care of, we are going to do the simple process of ensuring that your include /config.php file includes your newly created MySQL information. So all you're going to do here is with the include directory, resides in your Cacti directory. So what we're going to do is we're just going to vi the /include /config.php. Once you open it up, I just scroll down because you'll see the values there that you'll need to change. The way I've installed it, all you got to do is go to the password and use the X button to remove the Cacti the user from the Cacti user default. Again, I'm not too worried about security at this point, being that this will be something that you're not at this point serving to the public. It's going to be internal. So obviously, again, you can change this. Now on the home stretch, what we want to do is chown recursively the directories of RRA and log to ensure that Apache is the user. So chown -capital R www -data, and then ensure that you're using RRA and log to change that command. Next, we're going to update the cron tab file to have your poller run in the background. The poller is what will go and chase down your SNMP requests or your script requests for your various monitored equipment. So again, the easiest thing to do here is, you'll see I made a slight mistake here. I did the VI to cron with an H. It's definitely not spelt with an H. A little mind slip there. So VI into the cron tab. It's located at /etc /cron.d. And then what we're going to, cron tab, not cron.d. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to insert a line that will tell the system to run every 5 minutes and do the required polling that we set up, which will be SNMP requests to the Raspberry Pi. Again, at the end of this install, you'll be set up with a Cacti install that is solely monitoring the Cacti or the Raspberry Pi. So once you've edited the poller, again, I've made it so that you're directing the cron to the Cacti folder we've made according to my instructions. So pay attention to that if you chose to change any directories or whatever. Now that's pretty much it. Now before we go to see if what we've done has resulted in a working install, we're just going to make sure to use service Apache 2 restart and then restart the MySQL database, although generally you could probably skip this step. Just do it just to make sure the changes are reflected. Once restarted, we're done from the command line. What we're hoping to do, and you always want to cross your fingers, is we are going to check out if we have an operational site. Now again, here I just do a quick ls just to make sure that I did provide www.data the ownership of the appropriate directories, which are log and RRA. And now we just hold our breath, move over to a web browser, and point the web browser to our local host /Cacti. Again, if you are unsure of your IP, just run the ifconfig command and copy the IP address from there, because that'll obviously be your local host. So what we're going to do is go to the IP /Cacti, as that's the name of the directory, and you can name it whatever you want, and voila. If you see this page, you're good. You're good to go. If you don't see this page, check to make sure that you have the right permissions set, because that's, if you see a 404 forbidden or 403 forbidden or whatever. So when you press next, you just make sure that all these sections are green, making sure that all the appropriate directories are found by Cacti. And then you'll be prompted with the user login. The default login for the install is admin. Once you log in, you'll be forced to change the password, so we'll go ahead and do that. And so we just update the password. And we're in. So at this point, you actually have a working install of Cacti. It comes with the local host already implemented. Um, the localhost can be found under devices, and when you go into that device, you can rename it, according to your liking. I just selected Raspberry Pi here. Under the host template, you can leave it as a local Linux machine, as obviously that describes our Raspberry Pi. You'll notice lower on is that the SNMP version actually says it's not in use, and that there are some already loaded graph templates and data queries. So what we're going to do is we'll take it a step further. We'll go into bonus time here, and I'm going to show you how to configure the SNMPD file to ensure that you can get the full benefits of a SNMP install, rather than just the generic host information that is allowed by the default SNMP install. So what we'll do is we will make a quick copy of the original snmpd.conf file, just for good practice to have an original copy. So you do that with copy snmpd.conf to snmpd.conf_original or orig. And then we'll jump in and edit this file. So vi the file. By default, it's only listening to connections on the loopback port 161, which is the SNMP default. You can uncomment the agent address to listen on other addresses. I had some issue with the IPv6 information in this string, so when I uncommented the agent address, I removed that IPv6 information, as I think because I don't have any IPv6 support on the Raspberry Pi, it caused some issues. Scroll down and you will see that the default has a read-only community string of public, and it only allows you to see generic basic system info. We'd like to see things like the interface traffic and anything we really want to see. So we're going to uncomment the read-only community and change it to a community string of cacti. Once you change the community string, you can keep an extra layer of security by advising what network it'll allow access from. In this case, I'm just removing that extra security measure as it's not quite needed at this point. Save the changes to that file. Then we're going to restart the SNMPD service, and we will have access to some more detailed SNMP information. If you run a quick netstat-l, you can confirm that you're listening to SNMP on whatever port you set up. In this case, just localhost for me. Then we can swing back over to the Cacti GUI, and we can set up SNMP version 1 or 2 with the community string of cacti we set up. Then what you can also, we'll save that, and then what we can also do is we can add the data query for processor information as well as for interface information via SNMP. These would have returned no results prior to our configuration of the SNMP file. If you let the poller run for a bit, then reindex those, you'll see that the XML files are returning results. Then you can simply go to create graphs for this host and just select all the options for processor interface for bits in and out, and for the memory. We'll create those. You'll have some options, to customize the colors used in the graph. You can change those later as well if you like. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to also look for in and out unicast packets, which can be helpful for troubleshooting, as well as errors on the interface. Just some helpful graphs to be aware of while you are monitoring your device. After a couple of polls, again 5-minute intervals, you'll end up with some graphing information. So you can zoom into specific time periods and see the SNMP values graphed nicely on your cacti graphs. And that's pretty much it. I mean, for a basic install, this is going to give you all the abilities to look into things like logged in users, processes, whatever. If you want any more information on Cacti, head over to cacti.net. I also have a thread going at raspberrypi.org called Cacti Pi. And again, you can always visit me at nooblab.com and leave any comments or requests for tutorials or information there. I hope this helps you guys, and appreciate you watching, and good luck and enjoy Cacti.